I assume since you have clicked on this video, you think you are working hard enough to achieve success. But there's something missing. You are not able to find that one missing piece. Or you might also be the person wanting to know how to set your goals so that you can maximize your success in your field. If you're one of those two people or someone other than that, then I won't waste your time. Let me introduce you to two people. The first one is Tim, your everyday average person who has simple goals which are big but not quite right. And he does work towards them but not hard enough. The second persona we have is Jake. He was also like Tim not too long ago, but his life has transformed totally. He feels like the world is in his hands and he can achieve anything he wants. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're like Tim, then don't worry. I'm going to show you in this video how to be like Jake. You see, Jake uses a technique I mentioned before known as the 10x rule, which is not the sole trick, but it is definitely the foundation. This technique was invented by none other than Grant Cardone. But what is this technique that Jake uses? Well, you see, the 10x rule works on a simple principle. You have to set your goals 10 times greater than what you think you initially want. You might be wondering, isn't that too greedy? Or would I not lose sight of my goals? Well, Jake thought of it that way too until he tried it. What it does is, it basically pushes you beyond your comfort zone and conventional thinking. Think about it for a second. Let's say you want to increase your monthly income by $1,000. Instead of putting that as your goal, you think that you want to increase your income by $10,000. What that does it tricks your mind into being more creative and active than usual, since it is processing now to get something that is a lot bigger than what it actually wants. And it starts chasing the dopamine that you would get by achieving that goal and forces your body to work hard. Even if you are a lazy ass person, you will at least be able to get something like what you initially wanted. Here's what Tim did. He did something wrong. He thought about only getting $1,000 raise, and when he worked hard for it, his brain got tired of chasing something this small and decided to settle for something less like a $200 or $300 raise. The next trick Jake used to get ahead of Tim was implementation intentions, proposed by psychologist Peter Gollwitzer. This technique involves creating a clear plan of action by specifying the when, where, and how of goal pursuit. For instance, rather than just saying I'll exercise more, Jake could specify I'll jog for 30 minutes in the park every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday after work. This tricked his brain into creating a mental link between the first work and the second one, reminding him of jogging whenever he thought of work. He also broke down larger goals into smaller, manageable tasks, which made them less overwhelming and more achievable. You remember the $10,000 goal he had set? He changed it to something like I'll work on my side hustle for 2 hours after work every day, or change this or that in my e-commerce store today, etc. Tim, on the other hand, kept saying that he would exercise more, set bigger goals, and had no plan of actions, and had goals like one day I'll earn $10,000 or something, and just lays around on the couch being the fat, unattractive guy he is. Jake also understood that he had to take complete ownership of his goals, and if he succeeded, he was the only one responsible for it. And if he failed, then also it was the same. No one had any right over his success and failure, and he gave no excuses to that. He also rejected the average thinking and went beyond what was average. Instead of setting average goals, he set big, almost impossible goals, and then he broke them down into a plan of action as he did before. And somehow he achieved his goal every time. He worked very hard, and rather than merely competing in his field or market, he tried dominating it, which activated his primal instinct to conquer, making him work even harder than before he ever has. You must have already guessed what Tim is doing. But here's a brief overview. He was blaming external factors and other people for his inability to achieve success, giving excuses that don't even relate to why he failed at all, and being the sole loser he is. Recently, while surfing the internet, Jake also came across something known as the placebo effect. It intrigued him in some way, and he started digging deeper into it and found a lot of studies too. The explanation of placebo effect actually sounds a lot like an old fantasy movie's dialogue. If you believe it exists. This has been proven by scientists in 2001 who gathered some Parkinson's disease patients and gave some of them the actual drug whereas the others were made to believe they were given the drug and somehow all of them recovered. Jake started applying this to his life. He started believing in himself as much as he can. He started praying to God, believing in Him, and believing that God will help him achieve his goals. His life miraculously started getting even more better than ever. He started achieving his goals faster than ever. On the other hand, what did Tim do? He sat on the couch like a loser playing I don't know what, Fortnite, and thinking maybe I'll achieve this goal and not believing in himself. Even he did not believe in himself. And if you are like Tim, not believing in yourself, man, who else will believe in you if not you? You are the only person whose belief matters for your success. So get up and get back to grinding. Now, I would end your story here, but your story has just started, my friend. Got some other tips for you. One of them is being unreasonable. You challenge the notion of being reasonable or settling for mediocrity. It encourages you to set higher standards and expectations for yourself, refusing to accept average results. No matter how unreasonable you are, if that standard is required for you to set your goals and achieve them, then let it be. Keep your standard high. Another thing that causes the downfall of bright minds and hardworking people is their company. If you don't surround yourself with people who want to be as successful as you, who have the same mindset as you, and who create a sense of rivalry in your industry with you, then you are not with the right people. If you are with people who talk about what game released last month or something like did you watch that new video, etc., and talk nothing related to your goals, you are also going to be trapped with them. Now, I know that some of you may not have people like that around you with the same mindset as yours. You can just connect with someone on social media, mostly Instagram, by sending DMs to people under some financial education reel or some reel in your industry. Making friends with them, planning your goals along with them, competing with them, and even starting a business with them. Another thing I would mention is the need to go for big solution instead of small fixes that would make the thing work for some time. Let's say your product sales are declining due to the recent rise of another product that is the same as yours. Instead of lowering your price, you gotta redefine it fully, crushing and overwhelming the competition completely. It might also make your sales higher than before. I would like to conclude this video now, and be sure to like and subscribe for the next video, which is going to be a brief history of the Rothschild family, how they rose to fame and how their wealth got saturated.